Oh,
Oh, wow.
wow. Wow. This thing fucking good.
Oh, so you're saying leave them on?
Leave them on.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Don't touch him anymore.
Don't touch them anymore.
There you go.
And don't talk under your breath, because it'll pick you up.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
We're good at that.
That's not a good idea. That's a good thing. You're gonna be shushing me all night.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's 7 PM, April 16, 2025. I'd like to call the Inland Wetlands Watercourse Commission to order. Attendance-wise, Stephen Molinelli, Chair, present. Russell Davenport, Vice Chair.
Present?
We have a vacancy. Jeff Lippincott.
Present.
Frank Oliveri, absent. Gary Paganelli.
Present.
Jamie Giantano was no longer on the board,
That's correct.
so it's a
He'll
vacancy.
fall off, yep.
It's a vacancy.
Correct.
And we had another vacancy, and Matt Clausen.
Present.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a quorum. Next order of business is the approval of minutes, and I didn't see them in our package.
No, I was hoping to get those in from our former board clerk, Vanessa. We did not get them as of today, otherwise they would have been on the desk. We may just create those ourselves in-house and have them ready for your next meeting, so you can table that for now. For the purpose of minutes tonight, Jeremy will be taking them. That's all I have to say about minutes right now.
Okay?
Perhaps if we do fill the secretary position, we can go back in time and use the secretary to take the minutes.
I don't
as
think that was
once-
ever a role of the secretary.
I mean, back before you, like 1800s secretary.
I stand corrected.
But that's just a suggestion.
Just a suggestion. Right.
Under agenda review,
A couple things you'll find on your desks, the new water quality report that was delivered to us Monday. You'll also see the extension for extension request for 150 Shore Drive, which was alluded to in the staff notes, as well as the updated narrative for the 874 West Wakefield project.
and there was a, something also from 201 East Wakefield on our desk.
Just additional information?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right?
So is there discussion on the 150 short drive?
We're gonna get to it, yeah. I don't have anything for agenda review on my notes. Okay, there are no public hearings. First order of business is old business. Inland Wetlands Water Commission 25-1. The location is 150 Shore Drive. The proposal is a modification of existing permit to construct a new home. You alluded to a letter from the consultants indicating they're asking for a full 65-day extension. What does that bring us to, or where does that bring us to?
It would bring you to the June meeting without counting days on the calendar. It'll bring you to your June meeting if they need the full 65.
Okay, because they were absent last month also,
Right.
and there was a continuation.
Yep.
So they're entitled to the to the June meeting.
They are entitled to it, yep.
Okay.
I can do that math out for you for your next meeting, but it would actually bring them past your June meeting. because
Okay,
they're
as long as
65 days.
they're still eligible at the June meeting. Before we move off of there, there's a couple of concerns that we'd like to bring to the attention of the wetlands agent and the rest of the commission. Jeff, you had a thought?
Well, I went by there today, Matt and I discussed it, that along with the full cellar that looks like they poured a whole new cellar, they also put an entranceway on the side towards 152, I guess, where they were supposed to move it out 4 feet, and now there's some kind of stairs or something going down into a well.
So they're moving closer to the property line?
Yes.
Okay.
So if we had the 4-foot addition on, that stairwell is what it looked like. I didn't get out and take a picture or anything, but it looks like it brings out another 4 to 6 feet.
Okay. Matt?
So is that,
Yeah, that, I saw that also there. Yeah, I think we need to pressure these guys a little bit. Let them know the urgency, because obviously, they pretty much did whatever they wanted over there, and now they keep
but
brushing
is
it
that a
off.
zoning or building issue, or is that a wetlands, or kind of both?
Well, I mean,
They're linked together in a
totally
bit.
outside of what was approved.
Yeah.
With everything that they did, so I mean, I think we just need to, you know, have them expedite things a little bit. I know they keep blaming each other, but guess what? Let's make it happen, you know? I
Yeah,
mean,
so I'll review the plan with one of our building inspectors, and look specifically for this stairwell to see if it goes past the extension, and let you know.
Is that more ZBA than it is wetlands, you think? Or, I mean, who's supposed to enforce this? And what kind of hold do we have over these people that?
So as you
Stop
guys
anywhere.
probably
They just
know,
go.
we currently have an interim building official and a, lack of a term, deputy building official, because the deputy who's gonna be the new building official needs to go through the classes. All right, so that leaves us in a spot where our full-fledged building official is only here 2 days a week, or 2.5 days a week, not full days as it is. So it makes it a little difficult right now to follow through under good circumstances, let alone what we've been dealing with 150 Shore Drive.
You know what, though, that presents a two-sided issue. One, for the applicant or the person who's doing right or wrong, they have sort of like a, I don't want to say free access to do whatever they want because there's nobody around. And when they get caught, then they have to undo what they've done. So it's, you know, they're at a disadvantage if they get caught, and we're at a disadvantage because we're behind the 8 ball catching up.
Right.
So, I mean, that just can't continue to go on. I mean, you know, a couple of more months and town's gonna get the sense that, you know, there's a lot of loopholes in the town functioning, and now's the time to, you know, take advantage, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, you
I-
know,
I
we
could
really gotta
also-
stay on top of that. It's not you guys, I'm
No,
just saying.
I understand, but
there's a
it is
message.
a department issue.
Yeah.
We have an additional building official, our former building official, Bill Petroface, is gonna be coming to do some after-hours work to help out as well. So I'm trying to get more staff for that so we can keep our eyes on all those issues.
So are we coming from any kind of position of strength here? If these guys, can we make them pull those stairs out?
Well, let me review it first.
Well, what kind of power do we have?
Well, I mean, short answer is yes, they can be made to remove it if it goes against the plan.
Okay.
But we need to get there.
I understand. I want to jump to conclusions.
Right.
All right, and then with all that's going on, some of the things that we've asked for, which they haven't addressed yet in their responses, I hope it comes to fruition in a timely manner before, you know, everybody moves away and, you know, there's lots of things to be done yet.
Right.
You know, and granting a CO, in my mind, doesn't mean anything, because they could live in the house and do what they want, and when they get their CO, they get it. So, you know, let's not let that fall through the cracks much longer, because this has been basically probably 4 or 5 months now from the initial date of their, I don't know, it was the first thing on our agenda, so it was in the January meeting.
Right, it's been
So,
carried.
it's been
They were
quite a
in
while.
violation.
Yeah.
They were in violation
Okay.
permanently back in November.
Anybody else with that, Gary, Russ? No. All right, so you'll get back to us. Do we need a motion to honor their request for a full 65-day extension?
Yeah.
I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Jeff, all those in favor? That's unanimous. And Paul, just to stay with this for another moment, in one of the staff reports from April, last month. But we're also gonna get a survey to us also.
That's what they're waiting for, is for their surveyor to finish up his A2 and T2 work.
Okay,
That's correct. The engineer is ready to move forward with the drainage improvements on site, but he's waiting for the surveyor, who's a separate firm that was hired separately. to
okay, I just didn't
complete
want
this
that to
work.
fall through the
Yeah.
cracks, okay? Thank
And that'll
you.
help answer the questions about the building upstairs, access stairs.
Next application is IWWC 25-5. The applicant is Satyam Dase. The location is 874 West Wakefield Boulevard. It's the removal of existing dock and replace a new floating dock. Anybody hear from them?
I am here. My name's Alan Heavy.
You want to come up first, sit down, if you don't mind, introduce yourself?
My name's Alan Heavy, and I'm here representing Satyam Desai.
Uh-huh.
And I have him on the phone. If there's any questions, I can relay them to him.
Okay, is that permissible?
Yeah.
Okay, just, you know. All right, if you do, when he responds, just make sure you're close to the mic so it picks up whatever he's saying also. All right, we had some concerns last month that part of the application was to repair the existing wall, and that wasn't noted on the initial application. So I see you left something, or somebody left something on our desk addressing that.
As
You
far
wanted-
as the cleanup,
Yep, do you want to talk to that, please?
sure. The cleanup, the dock company will collect parts of the concrete and manually carry them off the property. They will place down a tarp to capture any debris.
What's the extent of the work?
Satyam, can you hear that? Satyam,
Sorry, what was the question? The
What?
extent of the work?
the extent of the work.
They believe it would only
can't
take
hear 'em.
2 days, but they would wait until the fall when the water level is brought back down to remove the concrete pillars.
Okay. They said it would only take 2 days, and they would wait until the fall to take down the concrete pillars when the water level's reduced.
And the understanding is that whoever is doing the work, there are no machinery in the lake bed at all.
Is there gonna be any machinery in the lake bed?
No, well, they said they would bring in a drill to drill a hole through the concrete so they could use a winch on the land to pull up the pillars.
How many pillars are in there?
How many pillars?
There's just two. There's the two pillars at the end of the dock.
2 pillars.
All right, I was there today, and your dock goes out about 12, 15 feet, give or take, 10?
What's the length of the existing dock?
It's 14 feet.
14 feet.
And the proposal is to go out how far?
And the proposal is to go out how far?
30 feet.
30 feet.
And what's the configuration of what you're planning?
What is the configuration?
It is 30 by 10.
30 by 10.
See the drawing, I guess? Yeah, it's there.
I'm looking at what's submitted, and I found on my desk just tonight. The language reads, there will be two 60 by 120 inches, 5 feet by 10 feet. There'll be 2 of them. And then one segment, 6.5 feet approximately by 10. So I'm not sure what you're saying and what somebody wrote to us is consistent.
Did you hear that?
So, yeah, so it would be, there's 2 60 by 120 units, there's one 80 by 120. So it would go 120 across, which would be the 10 feet. You'd have the two others going 60 by 120 next to each other. And then you would have the two jet ski docks that would, or ports at the end, which are 14 feet by 60, which gets you the same 10-foot diameter going out the final 14 feet. So you have 16 feet of dock and then 14 feet of jet ski ports to get you the 30 feet total going out, and all of that being 10 feet wide.
Do our ordinances, do they allow a 10-foot wide all the way out?
Based on
Huh?
the survey,
We're just gonna pull it up and verify, but I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
10 feet is the maximum.
That's the max.
Yeah.
So there's two 5-footers, that's 10 feet.
sorry, I missed what was that.
No, I'm trying to figure it.
He's calculating.
Oh, okay.
Just, we're looking at the, your survey.
You know, I think the ordinance has a square footage limit, total square footage limit on the dock.
Okay, unfortunately, we're gonna have to disregard your comment, only because you're not part of the applicant.
That's an FYI.
We know it's 320 square feet. What do you see?
I'm trying to figure this out, I don't know how you get to 30 feet. This is a seawall?
Yeah,
That's what, but there's not water behind here, right?
shouldn't be, no.
No,
there's-
no, right, there's
You know
a
what it
seawall.
is? This is like a sanded area. There's a drop in the property here. This is sanded area, then there's another wall
Okay,
into the lake.
right, I'm just trying to think how he gets this 30 feet out.
36 plus
Okay,
What's that?
It's going on 34 or 30.
The arithmetic is wrong, right?
24. It's 30 foot 6 plus 2 or 3.
It's 30 feet.
Hold on,
this
man,
is the
Gary,
original
what are you saying?
application, right?
That's
I don't have this one. Oh, so this is the new one. That I have. Am I looking at the wrong thing? What's that? I'm on the wrong thing.
This question is for the gentleman. I'm confused in that the 260 by 120 inches, they're 5 by 10, right? Okay.
I have it wrong.
He's only going out,
I have it wrong.
he's only going out 5 feet in each section because he's saying each section is 10 feet wide.
Correct.
So he's not going out 30 feet. Unless I'm missing something.
34 feet. 34.
What?
34 feet.
But if-
He just
the-
scaled it
The
up
numbers
figure.
don't, the narrative doesn't match up what the survey is showing. I don't think, anyway.
So total dock is going out approximately 34 feet, that's what that drawing scales out to?
Yes.
Okay.
Does that sound right, Satyam?
If that would be the max if they put a 4-foot ramp. The goal is to minimize the ramp distance. So it should be, I think it came out to 306 square feet total, excluding the ramp, and the ramp itself, we were trying to do 1 to 2 feet over the water max, which would be 4 to 8 square feet, I suppose. So you're at what, like 32 to 32 and a half feet out.
Yeah, so I see what you're saying, yeah, approximately, you're there. Like I said, you're right, the max would be about 34 feet, depending, but I know you can't determine exactly how big your ramp is, but the max would be 34, according to how they have it drawn.
Well, you have 5 and 5, then you have a 6 foot 8 inch section, so you're at 16.8, and then you're adding another 14 feet to that. So you're at 30 feet 8 inches,
Plus the distance.
plus whatever the ramp ends up
Right,
being.
which would, but again, not be beyond
And,
34.
and in relationship to the dock, you're proposing a 5 by approximately 14 feet jet ski ports. Can you describe what the ports will be?
Describe
So
what the jet ski ports are gonna be?
yeah, there are 2 jet ski ports to keep jet skis out of the water. They're 5 feet by 14 feet long with just rollers on them. They're the same dock setup as the rest of the floating dock, but it allows the jet skis to just come out of the water and rest out of the water.
So
So we'll
the
connect
jet-
to the back of the dock and be the same height.
So the jet ski ports are gonna float,
Jet ski?
Correct.
Yes.
They're floats.
okay? And where will it be positioned?
At the end of the dock. So if you're saying that the rest of the dock, that 16.8, right, feet by 10, they would be right off the back of the 16.8. That's how you'd get out to the 30.8. I think you guys quoted there.
Yeah, it's just a little hard to understand the jet ski ports because they're not on the plan. Yeah, you've got the proposed dock, but there's nowhere showing the jet skis on it.
If I may, Mr. Chairman,
Please.
on your survey plan, the section that's labeled 10 by 14 at the far end of the dock, it doesn't show them as jet ski ports, but that is the 2 jet ski ports side by side. So there's
So
3.
they're part of the
They
platform?
are part of the actual dock, yeah.
Oh, so they don't extend
do
out
not
towards the
extend
littoral
beyond.
boundary on either side? Okay, that
The 10
clarifies
by
it.
14 section is the 2 jet ski ports.
Fair enough.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah, they're already in the plan of the total 30. The full dock proposal has the 2 ports already on it.
That makes sense.
The positioning of the dock and the jet ski ports, does that affect the littoral boundaries at all, or?
No, because he's saying the jet ski ports are just like here. You just pull it up onto the dock, essentially onto what we're considering being the dock. So this footprint, it's all within this footprint that they have proposed with your 10-foot littoral boundaries.
But I'm talking about from the littoral boundary.
What I'm
I-
reading
I
is
don't see-
apparently there's nothing more than this, you know, than what is drawn here in this dock and this ramp that goes out to it. That's it. There's nothing that sits outside of those lines, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
And Jeremy is, you know, shaking his head saying yes, you know, so.
So technically, his dock is only 16 feet 8 inches by 10 feet. And then whatever he adds for a ramp. So those if it is a jet ski lift at the end or whatever you want, port,
Yeah.
those don't count towards your dock coverage.
Right. So it seems
Right,
like-
we don't, I mean, if you put it off to the side and you meet your littoral boundaries, we don't count a jet ski port as your dock coverage.
Right,
So he's
so
probably only at
he's-
160 feet, 170.
So he's certainly within
Yeah.
his limitations for that. I see, that picture makes sense now to me.
Just wasn't spelled out very clearly.
Right.
How wide is your property?
How wide is your property?
30 feet, right?
Yeah. It's on the survey, sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
30 feet.
And he's occupying 10 feet wide of the 30 feet, so he's under the half-foot rule. I will caution you, because you have 30 feet, your docks are going to be 10 feet wide, and the littoral boundary requires you to be 10 feet from the littoral line on either side, and you don't have an inch to spare, in plain English.
Correct.
You know, so whoever puts in your dock has to be extremely precise, and my suggestion is that before you finalize the position of it, you call Jeff and have him there to sort of oversee what you're going to do, because you just don't have the tolerance one way or the other.
He understands that.
Okay.
100%. Jeff is going to be there and is going to lay out all the spots that the company will use to start the positioning of the dock going out, and to place all the pillars, not pillars, but the posts in to hold the floating dock in place.
All right, when you plan on beginning this with approval?
So if I can get approval, the company says they can come out in 2 weeks to do it. They've done it in the water level by our house is 3 feet, so they said that is not a problem at all. Replacing the new dock, and they can remove at least the top of the old one. They will not touch the pillars, so not to contaminate the water itself until the water recedes. And Jeff has said he can go out and mark all the spots as needed and be there if needed on the day to to verify.
Which Jeff are you referring to?
You have a last name?
Same. Hold on, the surveyor who.
Okay.
It's
All
circle,
right.
okay.
Joe, yeah,
Okay,
even better.
Yeah, exactly.
okay. All right, I would suggest, we're gonna vote in a few minutes, but I would suggest, if pending approval, that you do the wall work, get that done, get the piers out, and then before you position or pin that floating apparatus and then the 10-foot wide dock to it, I would suggest that definitely be there to sort of give you some guidance as to where you can be and where you can't be. Is that understood?
That's understood.
Okay. Anybody else with anything? Gary?
No.
Okay, let me just, give me a second, I'm looking at my notes.
Yeah, it's still gonna have to be.
Right now, in your waterfront, there's a set of stairs that, the wall itself is the staircase, and then in the water, you have maybe 2-foot squares of, precast concrete. Is that going to stay?
That is, yep, that is there.
Is that going to stay?
Oh, is it gonna stay? Yes, I believe so. I wasn't gonna touch anything with the seawall in that area. That would end up being to the left of where the new dock is.
Okay, so the dock presently where it is basically in the littoral boundary, which is illegal. But that's neither here nor there at this point, because you're modifying where you're placing it. Again, just be careful and make sure Jeff is available. Give him some kind of lead time so he makes himself available. And, you know, there's no violation that you would incur because of a measurement of sorts, so to speak. All right?
Yep.
All right, any other questions, Jeff? Any concerns? Jeremy?
I think it should be only a condition, just because this is a two-phase project, right? We want to make sure that potentially in the fall, when the water is drained down, I think that somebody's contacted to, when that work is supposed to start, just so we don't end up with some larger scope of the project, if that makes sense. I mean, that's just one thought I had.
We could put a bond on it to be returned once that stuff is completed in the fall.
That's a way.
Talk to us about the phasing of the property. When you plan on doing it?
So the phasing?
Yeah, the phasing. So the initial, the deck and the removal.
Yep. The deck removal would take place if receive approval, they were planning to come in 2 weeks to put the new dock in and remove the top decking from the old deck, the one that is being removed totally. But in order to not contaminate the water and have any of the concrete kind of go back into the water, that part of it would then take place when the lake drains down the water level in the fall / early winter. So
And the repair work on the wall?
the repair work will be done right now because it's the decking that is laying on top of the seawall. So once they take that decking off, they will see if anything is even needed to be touched on the top of the seawall where the old deck was resting.
Okay, and the installation of the new dock and jet ski float?
Installation,
The installation would happen in two weeks, the same 2-day time frame. They said that it would need 2 days
So-
to remove the top of the old dock, make any repairs to the top of the seawall, and to install the new dock.
So then everything is gonna be done within the next 2 or 3 weeks pending approval, except for the removal of the piers?
Correct.
yes.
Okay. All right, anybody, anything else?
No.
Good? You guys good? All right,
Do you
we have a
think-
go ahead.
Do we need to, I mean, I assume the person wants to remove these piers, they're not gonna not remove them, right? I mean, that we need to make that as a condition, as far as making sure the work is done.
It's their waterfront, they can leave them in
Yeah.
if they wanna
Yeah,
run the danger of swimming into them or a boat hitting them.
yeah, that's their space. Okay,
Well, they were asking for the removal, so let's assume it's gonna be removed.
yeah, why wouldn't you?
All right, do we have a motion?
We should have bond,
Yeah.
some kind of bond.
All right, do we have a motion?
We'll make a motion to accept or to approve IWWC 25-5 to remove the existing dock and replace with a new one, an aluminum dock, and to remove the piers in the fall. Water goes down.
I'll second.
Is there a second, okay? Conditions, a bond,
We should put a bond on
okay. How much?
And-
it.
1,000?
I think a couple,
Couple?
to get those beams, those piers out. I think we should make sure those piers.
Well, how do you do that, Jeff, though? He has a right to leave them, so how would you put a bond on to make sure they
Isn't it
come
better
out?
if we get
Well,
cement
again,
out of the?
Yeah, but he can
out
leave
of the
them.
lake?
But we
But
can't
it's-
force them to leave them.
The bond
We
is,
can't-
The bond is
The
more
bond is
for
for
potential damage,
contamination
yeah,
and stuff to that
damages, not as a leverage to get,
Yeah.
maybe get somebody to do something.
Yeah.
I think it's, they would wanna complete it. If
Yeah,
it's
I agree.
incomplete, it's not within, in a sense, it isn't within our jurisdiction, right? I mean,
It's not.
it's not really, I mean,
I think
I
the
would,
lake is better without the concrete pillars in it.
yeah.
We agree.
we all agree with that.
I agree. Okay, so I don't think it's necessary for a bond?
I don't believe
I'm
so.
not
I
gonna
don't-
vote for
I don't
that,
see
no.
it.
I would just say that you guys just accepted it, or made the motion with the piers to be removed.
Yeah, that includes,
So, it's gotta be done.
right,
Yeah,
all right.
I'm good with that.
And the only thing is that before the work begins with the installation of the dock positioning, that the applicant notify the agent for correct positioning. All right, all those in favor?
I'm gonna abstain.
Okay, 4, and 1 abstention, Jeremy? Matt, okay, thank you very much, good luck with your project,
Thank you.
okay? We're up to new business now. Application IWWC 25-6. The applicant is Stu Jones. The location is 201 East Lake Street, and the proposal is to build a 6-foot, rebuild 6 foot of existing lake wall and add 8-foot steps at the present waterfront extending into the lot, into the property when you say lot. Okay, would you like to come up to the table, introduce yourselves? and explain to us some of the things you'd like to do.
Okay, I'm Stu Jones. Owned the property there since 1976. If you look at the pictures, you'll see there's a storm drain coming right into the property there.
Well, let me just, on page 8, I think is the best picture. There's the town-owned storm drain that comes down from the road, down into the down into the lake. And over the past few years, that's been eroding a lot. You could see all the grass where it's been worn away.
Uh-huh.
Our existing wall, I drew a little arrow there, and you can see the pot on it right there.
Yep.
You okay if I just go on here? We want to come out 6 more feet to encapsulate that storm drain, to bring the wall over 6 feet. And then there's another cement wall to the left of that. We want to build 5, we'll put 5 granite steps in coming down in, so this doesn't erode anymore into the lake.
And so we can walk up out of there.
Yeah, it totals 14 feet.
Approximately to the right of the storm drain is your wall,
Correct.
and
That-
to the left is your abutting neighbor?
Correct, that's the
And
Hillman's wall.
what's the distance between the 2 walls approximately?
14 feet.
14 feet.
14 feet.
Yeah, and we both own half of that.
Half of what?
Half of that 14
opening,
feet.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
okay.
opening. And there's a letter in here from Mrs. Hillman.
Oh, I saw that letter.
Yeah, we should be happy for it, to be done. But
Okay.
this just keeps eroding, and, the water keeps
How
coming
far up does the water come covering that pipe?
In the summertime, the water will come right up to where that grass is.
Okay, so it comes all the way up.
Yeah, never
Yeah,
goes
I
down.
gotta point out that, bought the property in 76, and the storm drain was already in place. It'd
Yeah.
been put there
Yeah, covered.
considerably before I got there. And when I rebuilt the wall in 92, I just didn't want to get involved with the city and the storm drain. So I stopped the wall short of the storm drain, just because I didn't want to get involved in all that. But the city left it like that, and it's been eroding and eroding.
Yeah.
And obviously, we got to do something about it. And so I'm taking it upon myself to put in the stairs and put in the wall.
So you wanna encapsulate the drain?
Yes.
Yeah, we want to just continue with that stone wall right around it. Yeah, and page 9, you'll see a better picture, I guess, where it comes out.
I wouldn't look at this, I'm sort of assuming that the Jim would wanna take a look at the town, as far as how they wanna be part of handling. I sense the sleeve, that part of it that goes through the wall.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, I'm sure whoever looks at it would agree that it should be done.
Yeah, it's a good, I saw it's in a rolling place, it's a good
I
upgrade to it.
don't think the storm drain has anything to do with the erosion. It's
Oh,
just.
yeah, well, when they put the storm drain in, now, this is the city of Winston. When they put it in,
Be
they
careful.
left it like that so that it keeps eroding.
Yeah, without anything around it, you know what I mean?
So it does have to do with the storm drain. The installation of the storm drain by the city is in effect, in the long term, responsible for the erosion.
I saw somewhere this used to be a boat ramp, boat launch?
No, it wasn't. I don't think it was.
No,
We've never taken a boat out through there or anything like that, you can't.
you could put a canoe in through there.
That's what we do.
A long time ago, the property, the wall on the east side there used to be a boathouse. And there was a boat repair house there.
Yep.
And they had railroad tracks and a ramp that would bring the old Chris Crafts up into the boathouse and they'd service it. What was the name of that?
Isbell's,
Isabel's Boat.
Isbell's,
Works, yeah.
yeah.
Right where the ramp is now, that's what was there
No.
before.
Well, right, it would be, if
No.
you're looking at it, it would be to the right.
Okay,
Yeah,
on Mrs. Holman's property.
exactly, exactly, yeah,
They tore that boathouse down many years
Yeah.
ago.
yeah. But the whole thing is only 14 feet.
Maybe I'm reading something that's not accurate,
Okay.
but somewhere along the line I read that you're proposing 8 granite steps?
On the picture, it says it.
They're 8 feet
Feet.
wide.
Yeah, it says
8 feet wide.
6 in circle and then
Oh,
8.
well, we don't know if it's 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah, see, they're 8 foot long,
Yeah, they're 8 feet
but they're
long,
5 or
plus our
6, depending
6
on where
feet.
the grade ends
Oh,
up.
okay.
You know, they may need 5, they may
All
need
right,
6.
okay, all right,
Yeah,
Couple questions here.
yes.
What year is the survey from?
Let me see.
It might, I don't see it, it might
Oh,
be,
wait a minute, I brought it.
okay,
1998,
1998.
yeah,
Under the yellow highlighter,
yep.
is that John DeCara's mark or a water line mark you guys penciled in?
Oh, I didn't do that, all I did was highlight it with a marker.
That's what I'm asking is.
Oh, I
the- the-
highlighted
It's
that?
John
Put it-
DeCarro's.
That is John's
Oh,
mark.
Oh, yeah, sure, here's the real one,
That's,
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
yeah. Right there.
Okay, so he
Yeah,
did show that.
Yeah,
Okay, that's all, I was just curious, I didn't. In approximately, how far back from the corner was that in 1998? Actually,
yeah, I don't know,
I don't know either.
yeah. I
and
don't
where
know.
is the short, can I borrow your ruler for a second?
Let me just say this, in 92, it was pretty much out to the wall that I built there. It was, and the remnants of it are, I believe, buried underneath there. But the wall line, in 92, when I rebuilt my wall, the parts of the old wall continued on over to Hillman's.
It's approximately 5 feet back when John DeCaro located it.
Okay,
And now it looks considerably worse.
it is, it is.
And my other question is, obviously, we're encompassing 2 properties. 1 application or 2 applications?
Well, we could, okay, this is a 14-foot piece of property. We could get 2 applications. I wondered if I was gonna have to go through this.
Well, let's see what they say, okay.
I'm just looking for
Okay.
clarification on it,
Yeah,
just
okay.
from a, I know you have a letter from the,
From Dorothy, yeah.
yeah.
I think we can get away with 1 application since it's these folks doing the work. We just are having a side conversation about our permitting system and whether or not we can duplicate it to the other properties so that we have a record of it on both. We'll figure that out in the background, but I think 1 application's okay.
Okay. I mean, because obviously some projects encompass,
Right.
you know,
One project.
numerous properties, but I didn't know if we had to go and deal with it.
I think because we have 1 applicant here and we have a letter of authorization from the neighbor, I think we're okay to do it as 1 application.
And you're proposing to bring that stairway straight across with your property line.
Right.
One of the comments that our town officials pointed out in their staff notes is that there is not enough detail in terms of the construction information.
Oh, yeah, that's why I think Shane was gonna give you all an extra little piece of paper. She wanted to, I guess, about what materials and such were gonna go in.
It's
I'll
there.
give you a brief
Yeah,
rundown.
we don't.
We're gonna need it in writing, but you can talk about it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we
She
did
gave
submit
it to
that
you.
to Shane.
Yeah,
It's here.
yeah,
Just so you know,
yeah.
it's pretty obvious. It's gonna be granite, and incident, I'm having Peter Hawk, who is, goes by the business name of Outdoor Artistry.
Yeah.
He's a great stonemason. He's done a lot of work for us. Previously, although the wall was rebuilt there by ONG. But he's done a lot of work for us. It's gonna be a great deal of granite, obviously, the steps and the wall. There will be cement pads underneath it, and probably we'll displace quite a bit of material just in the granite and the concrete. So what we have to bring in addition, will not be a lot, I wouldn't expect, and you, as you look at it, you can imagine the same. But that's also, all that was put there by the city, who is famous for throwing a bunch of their junk into a residential rebuild like that. So if it's too ugly, what I dig out of there, I will bring in processed gravel. I hate to, I dug up one place where the city had been in, and there were fence posts in there, and guardrails. And if there's crap like that in there, I will take it out and put processed gravel back in.
All right, would you mind having Peter Hock just articulate what you said and give it to us in writing?
Sure.
This way we know more precisely what your proposal is. And I also noticed when looking at your pictures on page 8 and 9, there were rocks in front of your wall on the right.
We didn't put them there.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
What rocks are you speaking of?
Stu, there, you mean all this little
Yeah.
stuff?
No, in front of the wall, this stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
those
well-
are in the lake.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're not gonna touch those.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not gonna touch them.
okay.
Yeah. But I must say, last year when they, whatever, what's that little pea stone, that big chipstone or something?
Oh, yeah, I wanna talk about that, Karen, I'm gonna get to that.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
you're proposing this for next year, for the deep drawdown, not
For-
now,
For
In the fall.
November?
in the fall.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Just so you know, the deep drawdown, I think, starts in October, correct?
Nice, okay.
Yeah, so,
Okay. But yeah, we can get you that thing from Peter. He said he'd be happy to do that, you know,
Okay.
for whatever, a more detailed list.
And then how would we have to set up a meeting with Jim or something? Like, we have to look at what this detail is of
the pipe.
the pipe, right?
I'm gonna add Jim to the permit record to do a
Okay.
DPW review, which we
Okay.
don't normally do with wetlands applications, but we have the ability to do that. So
And-
even if he can't appear before us, he'll review it from his desk and add notes.
And
into
he'll
that.
ask, okay, hey, I
Right.
need to see
Maybe it would be
this.
best also for Jim and Peter Hock to be there together, only because Peter's gonna be doing the work,
Sure,
and Jim
we
is,
can
Oh, when the
do
wor-
that.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
the conversation, you know, about the work takes place between the two of them, and then I think that'll give Peter a better direction as to how to approach it.
Well, what would happen around the pipe? I can't imagine anything except that we build a wall around the existing pipe.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you do.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
correct. It's
Who's-
just concrete right around the pipe.
What's
The only-
that?
It's just concrete right around the pipe. The only thing you have to make sure is that the elevation of the pipe is
Yeah.
on
Yeah, we'll
a
leave
down gradient. That's
Leave the
about
pipe
it.
where it is.
Yeah, but if it's raised at all from frost or anything because it's just hanging out there right now, they might have to just lower it so it's coming down just a little slow.
Yeah, Jim should be able to get a set of eyes on that and
Yeah.
determine exactly what.
To do
He
the wall,
needs.
they're just gonna come right around it with the cement and stone.
It'll be like a big weep hole.
Yeah, it's trying to
Yeah,
think of
essentially.
town weeple.
Who is Jim, or where?
Jim Rollins is the
Oh,
DPW director.
Rollins.
Yeah, Jim.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
All right, any other questions of the applicant, Matt?
I didn't get a chance to visit the site, but how far back is the erosion currently?
I don't know.
Like 10
Okay.
feet or,
I don't know, let's see.
In
Not more.
1998, it was,
Let me
oh,
think.
yeah,
From what, the end of the wall?
yes.
Well, you got a picture there.
Yeah.
She says
it's not
I'm
more
gonna
than
say
8 to
11
10
or
feet.
12
I mean, I was
feet.
there today,
Yeah,
about 8 to
11 or
10 feet, I
12
would
feet?
say.
And so technically, the stairs are gonna protrude out to the front of the,
The stairs will start at the present
the
wall
wall.
line.
face the wall.
And go up towards our lawn.
You go into the property.
Right,
Yeah,
they're not
nothing's
going
coming
out.
You can't go out.
well, technically it is going out from your property line.
No, it's coming in.
No, because he's saying the
Coming in
original
from
From
pin.
that survey, it's sticking out approximately 5 feet from the 1998 survey.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
All right. Well, what the wall line, the original wall line is what I'm going off from. Now, we can argue about how much was eroded at the time of the survey, but let me tell you that, when I bought the property, it was all the way out to the wall line plus. Because when the city put their, pipe in there, they just threw a lot of, fill in, and it actually projected into the lake farther than the wall line. And so that's been erosion, and, which is actually, when I got the property, that bunch of gravel there extended out into the lake farther than my wall line.
That's what you mean,
All we have to go by is that survey. That's, I understand things change over a period of 50 years or whatnot,
Okay,
so.
well, go up and take a look at the whole
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, come on
Yeah, and
just
I will
look
make a
at-
point of
yeah.
looking at it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it as far as it's coming back from the wall line where he has it. I mean,
So
I
am I.
think that's fine, but I know.
That's good.
you-
I mean, they ran that pipe, Matt, when they put the pipe in, they ran it to the face of the wall. They ran it to what it was before. You know what I mean? The end of that pipe going out to the lake was where the wall was.
All right, just for your information, one of the things that will happen is we're going to accept your application tonight.
Okay.
We've given you a couple of things that we'd like to see for next month.
Okay,
And typically, Russ said he's visited the site. I haven't gone onto your site yet, but we will visit your site.
good, okay.
We'll probably knock on the door, let you know we're there.
Okay, good, okay.
And then we'll just wander about
Okay.
and look at it.
You're welcome, sure.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Then I'll make a motion to, accept, application IWWC 25-6 for, Stu Jones at 201 East Lake Street. Rebuild.
I'll
Second.
All right, do we need a public hearing?
No.
Okay. All right, all those in favor of accepting? It's unanimous. All right, we'll see you back here next month.
Okay.
Try to have whatever Peter Hock and Jim Rollins will put in place, try to have it at least a week ahead of the next month's meeting. And the meeting next month is a Thursday, correct?
Correct.
So it's not the regular Wednesday, it's the day after.
Okay.
Whatever the date is.
Okay.
And, this way we have it when we visit the site, rather than we find it on our desk.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, have a good night.
You too, thank you.
Okay,
You're welcome.
As long as I'm here addressing the keepers of the environment,
Okay.
I'd just like to talk to you about that storm drain. That storm drain services both Superior Street, the southern end of Superior Street, and East Lake Street. And it's known as the catchless catch basins, because nothing gets caught. There is no provision for catching all the silt and all the debris that comes down East Lake and Superior Street. I've talked to Jim Rollins about it.
Candy.
He's been, and Candy Perez, and they've both been there to look at it. And Jim promised me that he would dig up the road there and find out why there's no catch basin action, because the pipe comes this way, down from Superior, and then in this way from East Lake. This is all buried under the road, and then it goes down, and we get this nasty berm. We get shoes, we get paper bags, plastic bags, but the worst was when they did the chip seal.
Yeah, that was bad.
That really highlighted the whole thing. They had chip seal all over the berm out in front of that pipe. And I had Jim Rollins up there, and he looked at it, Candy Perez looked at it, and Jim sent up two guys and they came up and shoveled out 2 5-gallon pails of chip seal. And you know what the chip seal is, it's little stones. And that all got washed down there, so there's no catch basin action at all, because all that stuff went down. And when his guys came up, they took away 2 5-gallon pails, but that was just, that, no, I'm not.
Okay.
That was just the ground. There's a lot more there. And Jim, for 2 years, and I remind him every 6 to 9 months, gotta come up and check out that catch basin or that whole drain pipe. And it is yet to happen. So
Well, when
as
he-
keepers of the environment, I would think that you people would be concerned about the catch basin.
Stu, when he's there with, when Jim Rollins is there with Peter Hawk, just bring that to their attention at that
Okay.
point, and maybe it could all be remedied at one time.
Okay.
But thank you very much for coming
Thank
before
you.
us.
Yeah, no,
Have a
I-
good
I-
night.
Yeah,
And
I
I do
appreciate bringing
email
that
them.
up.
Okay,
On a
good.
regular basis.
All righty.
That's good. Then I should
Good night.
redo that catch basin.
What? There's no catch basin.
Right, well, then one needs to get put in, obviously it's got stuff coming out of it, I think it should be,
Process going on.
one of the major hit, one of the opportune ones to rebuild, correct?
I got a list of them. I talked to him about it today.
Yeah,
I got a
okay.
list of what he's gonna do.
Is this one on? We're gonna add this to the list?
All right, next order of business is application IWWC 25-7. The applicant is Matthew Boyle Senior, and the project is at the location is 265 West Lake Street. And the proposal is to expand and replace existing deck at waterfront, install a new dock, conduct seawall maintenance, construct a new deck at the rear of the house. You want to introduce yourself, sir?
Sure, I'm Matt Boyle, and my wife is sitting with me there. We purchased the house just in September, new residence, and we're retiring here, and we're loving it. So there's certain things that we just want to do to the house, and decks and their dock and things like that. So that's kind of where we are.
Okay, you want to talk to us about, you want to do to the waterfront?
Pardon me?
What you'd like to do?
To the waterfront?
Yes.
Yes, yep. And so there's four projects, and the first one is, in the list that you have there in the explanation, is replacing, expanding the existing deck. So basically, there is about an 8x9 deck there right now. It's in disrepair. So the other picture, the little square thing, just before that one, sorry. Yep. This, it says current platform deck on the top there.
Yep, okay.
So
got it.
that's the one that's there right now. And
Oh,
it hangs over about 2.5 feet over the water. Most of it's on the land. So what we want to do is replace it and then make it a little bit bigger. So looking to make it 12 by 16 and then still hang over the water just 2.5 feet. So we'll have 3 piers on the docks on the shore side to hold it down, in that area, and then the seawall will hold the other part. So as far as the structure of it there.
So go over that again, it's 12 feet,
It'll be 12 by 16. 12 by 16.
16.
Okay.
Question now is, either the 12 or the 16 exceeds 10? And the part that's over the water cannot be more than 10 feet wide? Are we accurate with that?
It becomes a dock.
What?
It becomes a dock and not a deck.
Are you familiar with the dock and mooring ordinance?
But it's a,
Are you familiar with the dock and mooring ordinances?
I've reviewed it, but I'm not,
Okay.
I guess you have to remind me.
Well, they lay it out pretty clearly how wide the dock can be, and 10 feet's the maximum.
Okay, now this is, there's 2 parts to this. This is a platform like this on the shore. So
That part is okay. When that platform extends over the water,
Yeah,
then we look at it differently as opposed to
So it's-
what we look at on the land. So
Oh,
the
okay.
maximum width over the water is 10 feet.
okay.
That's what I'm trying to explain.
Okay, so if we made it instead of 12, well, let's say, no, it goes 12, 16, if we brought if we just put 10 feet over the water and then brought the other part back? I mean, how would, just to put a maximum of 10
10
feet?
feet wide over the water.
Over the water,
Okay.
okay,
Now, when you say, let's stay with your numbers, 12 by 16,
yes.
which way is the 12 and which way is the 16?
12 is deep and 16 is wide.
So you're proposing 16 feet over the
Yeah,
water?
16 actually.
And we're saying 10?
Yes.
Okay, so it was 12 this way, and then that would have to be 10 this way. Okay?
Okay, yes.
You
So-
can meet with Jeff during the
Okay.
week, and if there's something that you're not 100% sure of,
Okay,
spend the time with him.
okay, that sounds good.
Okay, go ahead, Matt.
If I may enter. Do you have a current zoning application to enlarge, a variance application to enlarge the deck?
No,
Okay. Anything within 20 feet of your front or rear yard has to be approved with a variance. I know it's not our jurisdiction,
Right.
but, I mean, Jeff can, decks, patios, terraces, anything within 20 feet of the water, front or rear yard.
okay, so that's within 20 feet of the water, pardon me? What is that?
Yes.
Well, you're right on the water.
You're right on the water. You're right on your
Right,
property
exactly.
line.
Yep,
So,
because, yeah, I've been in conversation with Jeff.
Okay, good.
On this, yeah, so,
Let's see what they're talking about.
Yeah,
yeah.
I knew it was any block or concrete or patio type of thing. I wasn't aware of that.
Do we have a survey for this property?
I don't know.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, this was one over before, yeah, you know, I got it.
All right, you want to continue?
Sure.
Thank you. All right, so we'll clarify that.
Okay, great.
Next,
And then the next would be the dock itself. So a dock, a aluminum dock is what we're looking at to go out into the water. That would be connected to the front of the deck, of the platform there, by the water. And then that would be, we could, you know, for whatever, swimming, canoes, kayaks and stuff like that.
how far out would that go?
20 feet?
So then, using the same picture, you have an aluminum dock going out 20 feet?
Yes, and it goes out 20 feet from, so it's actually 20 plus the 2.5, because it'd be connected to the front. Yep. But if we connect it, we could very well connect it to the part that's on the shore and just go out the 20 feet there, which probably would be better.
You have up to 40.
Pardon me?
You have up to 40.
Okay,
So you have plenty.
plenty of room, okay.
But it's only allowed 10 on the end. You have a 12 in the end. It's
Yes.
only allowed to have 10.
He's
Okay,
got
so the-
16 on the end.
The dock itself is
16 wide
three
and 12
foot
feet out.
Yeah.
But it's 20 out.
Right, but it's 12 feet wide.
Yes.
10's the maximum.
Pardon me?
10 is the maximum.
Is the maximum?
Yes.
No, he's
12 foot,
he's got 12, he's got 12.
No,
No,
he's
it's
got-
16.
12 foot 4, that's the one on
12.
But the width, 10 is max?
10 is
Yes.
max.
Okay. Huh. Okay, no worries, no problem at all.
That may make it, will probably make a difference in how you configure
Yeah.
the pieces.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So we're gonna make it wider coming back in, but just stay within that 10 feet maximum
You can go 10
width-wise.
feet all the way out.
Right,
There is a maximum square footage limit also, but you know, if you're going 20 feet, it's easy. It's like 340 feet, 320. 320,
What's that? Oh,
maximum square footage.
320.
So he's okay with it, with the cantilever, in a sense, with it almost cantilevered out over the water with the 2 feet, as long as it's 10 by,
10 by whatever, 10 by 2.
10 by,
I guess, I'm not sure about the dock on the shorefront.
We're gonna review this some more. The thinking right now may be that if he rebuilds that overhanging deck dock to the existing configurations, it would be a pre-existing non-conforming, which could save him a trip to ZBA. We're gonna have to get the measurements of that and see how it all,
Just repairing that.
even if you replace it in kind to the same dimensions, it will be allowable from a zoning standpoint,
Yeah.
since we're on zoning right now.
So as it's drawn right now, it doesn't really work.
Correct.
With the 16 by 12, right?
Right.
So for the next meeting, he'd be coming back with it.
There's gonna be some changes one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When were you proposing to do this with approval?
Soon, right after it was approved to get, it for this spring, into the, you know, to get the
Okay,
water.
all right, then,
Yeah.
all right, then, I'm gonna say or suggest that you spend a lot of time in town hall getting it cleaned up.
Yeah.
As to, you know, ultimately what's gonna be before us. Because if we had to act on this, you'd be denied.
Yeah.
Because of numbers.
You're right.
So all you have to do is get the numbers to conform better, and then we can move ahead.
Okay.
All right, talk to us about, go ahead. Talk to us about what else you're doing.
Pardon me?
No, Jeff said just a few adjustments, but go ahead. Talk to us what else you're proposing.
Okay.
And then-
Talk about the rest of the proposals?
Yeah.
Are you saying?
You're gonna
Okay.
install a
I'm
new
sorry, I'm
dock.
a bit hard of hearing.
Go ahead, you're gonna install a new dock, which we just talked about.
Okay, great.
All right, then you
Okay.
conduct a,
Seawall maintenance.
Maintenance.
Yes, and, yeah, it's basically with mortar and some loose stones that are there. And most of that, I think, will be done, or will be done, during the deep draw next year. But we would do some of it because if we have the platform over the wall, we'd repair that part, which is basically on the top. You know, some of the capping and stuff like that is
how
cracked.
wide is your property?
It is, the front there is,
No, the waterfront,
almost 90 feet.
the waterfront.
The waterfront, yeah, well, the water, it's, I mean, 158 on the side, and then 100 and, so 41, probably roughly about 100,
Okay.
and so 100 runs in
So-
front.
And you're just proposing, I'm gonna use the word superficial work on the wall, not reconstructing
Oh,
anything?
not at all,
Oh,
no, just repair, it's, yeah,
Pointing it up where it's necessary,
exactly,
leveling, okay,
exactly.
okay.
Yeah, nothing.
In regards to that,
What's that, Matt?
does the Army Corps of Engineers have any oversight on this because it's part of an easement, a dike easement?
The part that they, and this is something that I've been talking to Jim Rollins about, and trying to figure out who has responsibility and such, but the part in the front here, it's not part of the easement where we're looking at, so, but as far as along the side there, we're still trying to find out who, and I think it's the Army Corps of Engineers that has responsibility for that, but that's a whole nother thing. Because in the deed, it was back in 1970 when they put the dike on the property. So, and there's things in the deed that says if this happens or that happens, and they'll come in and fix it, kind of thing. So it is, certain things are in the deed, but now it's been a long time, and who has responsibility is a thing. So this area that we're talking about, however, is not in the easement. It's just in the front there, where the deck would be, or the platform, yeah. Yeah.
All right, and the last thing you're proposing is a new deck at the rear of the house?
Yes.
Okay, is this the next picture that we're looking at with
Yeah,
with the sitting area?
The other picture with the sitting area was actually just to give you an idea of what would be going in the platform over the water. So it would just go over, 2 feet over, but most of it being on, so that was just giving an idea of what that would be. I don't have a picture or anything right up of the deck that'll go on the back of the house. It'll be a deck that'll be about 15 inches off the ground, and just coming off the sliding glass
So
doors.
it's not going over the water?
Oh, no, that, in the picture here, if you look at where the house is itself, it's just off the back of the house. But, and talking to Jeff, it was plenty of distance from the front waterfront, as far as not worrying about, wetlands and such, but from the side, it was too close, so that's where we're going for your approval as well on that. And it's just gonna be a regular deck with a, grill and tables and stuff like that.
The approval for that on the side, that's zoning, isn't it? That's not us.
Right, what we're talking about here, if I heard Matt right, because we were having a side conversation, the only reason we're even talking about the proposed deck off the back of the house is because of the distance to the side waterfront, not the
65
back waterfront.
65 feet from the
Right,
water.
so it's within the review area.
Okay.
Right, exactly, yeah. But that's not going to be anywhere near the water or anything, and we raised that up. And one of the reasons for that is we have a son who has a balance issue and such, so that would give more stability. And the same thing as far as the platform at the water as well, is why we wanted to make it big, was to give stability for him. He doesn't live with us, but he obviously visits and all that kind of stuff. We're dual.
So I guess maybe just a schematic with how many sonotubes you're proposing there. Are you doing 6 sonotubes? Are you doing 2 sonotubes? Or what are you doing there?
As far as the piers for the.
That's all we need to know, pretty much, yeah. Are
Yeah,
you doing,
6.
I don't know how many piers, you can either give us a little schematic with it plotted out on there, just so Jeff has something to reference,
Okay.
you know, and it doesn't change
Yep.
from your approval to,
Well, that would be under permit from the building department, correct?
Well,
Yeah.
if we're,
Yeah.
yeah, he's gotta go that, but I'm just saying, how many are they excavating for? He's in the review area.
Yeah, I got you.
So,
The 6 is what we were looking at, but, okay, yep, okay.
So that's for the covered porch and for the deck dock section.
Pardon me?
That's for the covered porch and for the deck dock.
covered porch is existing.
The covered porch is existing,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
So we're talking about the dock, the deck dock,
Deck.
how many sonotubes you're gonna put that on?
Yeah, there'll be, 6 for the, at this point, we'll probably change things up for by the water, but 6 by the house, holding that up, and then 3.
The sonotubes Matt was referring to was by the house.
Okay, but you're gonna put them by the dock too?
Yeah, 3 by the dock,
Okay, so
and then
we
the
should
wall.
have a design on that too.
Pardon me?
We should have the design on that too.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, whatever, usually when we have a pretty good idea, like if you're gonna rebuild existing, say you're gonna go for what, you spoke about rebuilding essentially the existing well, I'll call it cantilever platform.
Okay.
We need to see some sort of spec on that, right, as far as what you're doing there, right? Like some core, just what it is from a construction standpoint.
Okay.
The disturbance level.
Yeah, just, you typically, it's a sequence, we have listed out, even if it's small project like this, you still have a sequence of work saying, we're gonna dig this part out, put these size piers in, replace this, and, just a description of the work, so we can see the scope of it, essentially.
Okay.
And we know, essentially what you're doing there.
Now, one of the things you said that you'd like to do some of the work sooner and some of the work later. You
No,
need-
most all of this would be sooner.
You don't need a deep drawdown. You don't need a deep.
Oh, no, I mean, the wall, there's, yes, that's the only thing is with the wall,
Okay.
some of the wall there, because we'd only be looking at the time, we were looking at 16 feet, but basically 10. Now, if we were to do that, or 9 maybe, with the existing. So that would be the only area that we'd be
Okay,
looking
good.
at now, in the top of the wall. Yeah, just to make sure that that was done.
Anybody, anything else? All right, the biggest takeaway from my concern is get down to 10 feet over the water, no matter what. Okay, and then,
Yep.
the rest of it, you have plenty of property and you have the ability to go out 40 feet, but can't go wider than 10.
Wider than 10.
So is this gonna be a permit also to point the whole wall in the fall?
Yeah, it's on
One
there,
permit,
right?
yeah,
So
one
it's gonna be
permit.
So
Yeah.
we should have a plan of that.
Well, see, it's under
Scope of
seawall
that.
maintenance.
It's maintenance.
It's not really, for repointing, what kind of a plan is it? It's you know what I mean? It really-
He's got it in a narrative here, it says the maintenance will include resetting loose stone and some new mortar.
Yeah.
I mean, our biggest concern a lot of times is these projects get out of control. And, somebody says, oh, we're just repointing, then they realize that, oh, we need to replace this whole thing. And we've got a much larger scope of work and potentially heavy equipment that,
Oh,
I mean, it just sometimes happens. So that's how we kind of are looking at it, like, we don't want it to just turn into a bigger job and then there's a whole new seawall, essentially, right?
Understood.
Unfortunately, it's happened a lot, and,
You
we're
know
just
what's
trying to
good is you're
prevent
new to the town, so you don't know what everybody else did.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
He said, you're new to town, it's good, you don't know what all the other past people have trusted.
All right, is there a motion to accept?
Very good.
Go ahead, Russ.
Where is this?
Let me ask one thing, is with the deck, we went back and forth, and I talked to Jeff about putting a patio down there, but then we're looking at impervious coverage and things we'd have to be looking at as well, instead of the deck, because obviously the patio wouldn't hang over the water, but you can make the patio larger. I mean, would that be preferred? Again, we're looking for something that's stable for, for our son to walk on and such. We thought the deck would be better with the,
Well, if you push it back to the edge of the seawall, essentially, doesn't that change? Then it doesn't become
Or we
a
could just
dock?
do it-
Or, you know
not
what I
even
mean?
worry
Is that
about
how that works?
I don't think he can put a patio within a 20-foot from the water line.
What's that?
Maybe you can put a pervious one in, I don't know.
I mean, could he essentially build a deck right up to the edge of his seawall back? Say he wanted to just move what we've got drawn up here, his 16 by 12. Can he just push that back to the edge of his seawall?
Not without going to zoning, if he wants
Right.
to go to the size he wants.
Right. I'm just trying to propose it, is that?
because I wouldn't.
But I don't think he can put a patio there. I think he can do whatever he wants with the deck, but I don't think he can put a patio there.
A deck, but you're saying he could put a, potentially, from our standpoint, as long, when it doesn't go over the seawall, then it becomes, it's a deck. So it's a different,
Unless it's pavers or.
right,
or roof
whatever,
line or-
but regardless, it changes the size of it once he goes back. What we're, in a sense, our jurisdiction is saying, or more ordinance is saying, well, once you come out essentially over the seawall into the water, well, that changes everything. But if it's behind the seawall, I'm proposing this, can he do a 16 by 12 deck?
No.
Because that doesn't
If he goes to zoning, he can. He can-
Yeah, if he gets a
Yeah,
variance, he can do it, yes.
go, right.
Yes, he
In
needs a
theory, though,
variance.
he could
Yeah.
do
It
that.
eliminates the issue with the dock and mooring ordinance.
Correct.
Right.
You're right
Yes.
on that, yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
But then it opens up to
It might
the
open up
zoning.
to
zoning, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
okay. Does that clarify it a little bit, or?
Yes, okay.
Because it seems like you're going in a direction, you want to have a bigger platform out there, and,
Right, exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
I can't speak to zoning and all that, but from our standpoint, it does, then it would change, the size of, you should be able to do something bigger if they allow it.
Yeah. As far as the decks, though, there is because we looked at that for the deck in the back of the house, it's 9 feet from the property line or as close as the house is. Would the deck by the water be different, go under different zoning as far as distance from the
The backyard variance. isn't it?
from the property? But also, it's 41,
I'll read it to you, hang on, I just got
it's
it right here.
41 feet.
So, let's go here, that's low impact development, Highland Lake District. Decks, patios, pergolas, terraces, they all fall under the same thing. The subject structure, other than steps outlined in paragraph D, shall be no closer to the boundary than the existing principal building or 9 feet. Those are side yards. The subject structure is not within 20 feet of the lake shore or retaining wall face or high water mark, or the front or rear property line. So,
So 20 feet.
that's right out of our zoning regs. Yeah, so you can go for a variance.
Right, exactly,
And then,
okay.
then you would come back to us with a scope of work and how you're gonna put in a patio there,
Right, okay. Or the deck.
or the deck.
Or the deck.
Yes.
Okay.
You're saying you can do the deck because it's pre-existing.
If it matches the existing dimensions,
Right,
all this conversation goes away.
okay.
Lot to
Then he
digest.
gets his 16 feet.
If that's the existing dimension.
Well, again.
Well, the dimension's 8 by 9 right now.
He gets
That's
8
what
by
we know.
9.
If it's
So
over
that's
the-
what it
If
would
it's
be.
over the water, it's over, he has it. Yeah.
But can we build up then? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, boy.
You know, my only suggestion, did we vote? Hang on a minute, did we vote?
I'm sorry, yeah.
No.
No, okay. My only suggestion would be to figure out what you really want ultimately. And if it takes a little longer and it's a little harder, that may be better than doing something and then I shoulda, coulda, woulda kind of
Right.
thing. So, I know you wanna have it for the spring, but a month delay into the spring may be to your benefit because you'll have time to digest where we are and where Jeff would be and other town officials. So, just a word of caution, that's all. You have plenty of time.
Okay.
From us. So we're gonna accept it, and unless things change, you know, you're gonna provide us with the additional material for next month's package, which again, the meeting is not a Wednesday, it's a Thursday, the next night, and we'll act on what you give us,
Okay.
okay?
Okay, great.
And, do we have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept, IWWC 25-7 for, 265 West Lake Street. Expand existing dock at waterfront, install new dock, conduct seawall maintenance, construct new deck and rear house.
Second?
I'll second.
Gary, all those in favor? All right, it's unanimous. Have a good night.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We'll spend some time reviewing the plan.
Sounds great.
And, yeah.
Okay, agent determinations, agent actions first. Any determinations?
No new determinations. I guess we can say we had a warning. I did visit 147 West Wakefield Boulevard. It's incorrectly listed under D as 174 Westlake Boulevard. That was a complete typo.
Where are you, Jeff? I'm sorry. Under violations, you talking?
Yeah, all right, so no warnings, skip ahead to
Okay.
violations. We'll
Okay,
go
go
that
ahead.
way. Well, I'll just take them in order then. 308 East Wakefield Boulevard, ZBA did approve Mr. Sliney's work. As you guys know, he needs to be done by June 1. He is working towards that. He's sourcing materials. He's been in discussion with engineer Tom Grimaldi about what would be acceptable. And I also saw an email just the other day, they're going back and forth on the required plantings that will go in as well. So hopefully that all happens before that hard date of June 1. No new information on 713 East Wakefield Boulevard. They still don't have the survey. This is related to the trees that were cut down possibly on town property. 139 West Wakefield, still working its way through the courts, but some of you may have noticed that that property is now listed for sale by owner. If we do get a new owner there, hopefully we can take care of all these issues with the dock that's in place. So now we're on to D. It was brought to my attention that work was going on at 147 West Wakefield without any permits.
174.
147 West Wakefield is the correct address,
Oh,
174.
okay, now I got it, okay.
West Lake Street was a complete typo.
West Wakefield.
Yes, West Wakefield.
West.
I got that wrong too?
You got the whole thing
I got the
wrong.
whole thing wrong.
Yeah, there were 4s and 7s, whatever.
West and east.
In any event, I did go visit the contractor while he was still working there. He was able to finish up the work that day, put silt fencing on the roadside at the bottom of the hill where they were working. I was in contact with the owner by way of a code violation because he was doing work without a permit. He will be in before you next month. He's already got his application going. He was charged the application fee and the post facto application fee as penalty, especially since he did a similar thing last year and didn't learn that lesson. So there's a minor amount of work that he still wants to do there. So he's gonna actually come and present it to you rather than just pull the permit because you already did the work, because there's a little more to do.
See right on the corner of Vons Lane?
You got it. Yep.
Can I know you just got through those, I wanted to ask, is there time I can ask about a couple other properties just on the lake?
Sure.
For one is, was that one, the old Union Pin, is that 170, I think 170 West Lake Street?
Yeah, I don't know the address
Now,
offhand, but
did we approve some work there? I know it's just land
we
clearing.
didn't approve any work there. Jeremy and I did meet with the new owner on site, which is Eric from the marina.
Okay, yeah.
And essentially, they're clearing space for additional boat storage and parking there.
Right.
We went through his scope of work. He was taking some trees down. He's leaving, stumps in place, so on and so forth. Seems that he stayed within the scope that we discussed while we were on site and didn't need
So there's
any
two
permit.
so there's also is there some other drainage just really that almost runs right next to the one existing building there? is that a drainage?
Yeah, that's
Overflow?
the Highland Lake
That's the
channel
gate.
stream.
What's that?
That's the gate.
Yeah.
Right.
That drains the lake.
That's
I
where
feel
all the
like
water's going.
there's a lot of activity going on, like we normally have silt fences up, we have all sorts of stuff, and I know it's just land clearing, but it looks like there's regrading it. I mean, you went and looked at it, to me it seems surprising that we don't have some other erosion controls and stuff they're considering. I may be wrong.
We
I mean,
can look at it again.
I mean,
I'm
I
not
mean,
there
if
every
you're good,
day,
like I said,
you
if
know.
you're there, if you're good with it, I drove by and said, wow, that's, usually when we have a pretty big disturbance like this, we tend to have silt fences and, control measures up.
There's nothing rolling through it right now. The gates are closed.
Right,
So it's a
Seasonal water
seasonal
course.
water course.
right,
Intermittent.
But it's, by the
Intermittent.
time anything comes back or anything
Right.
else coming down, it should be stabilized around.
but you could end up with a whole bunch of gravel and construction debris in it, and then when it gets opened up, it just shoots right down, right?
We'll take another look at
Yeah,
it.
no, it just seemed, I was a little surprised that there wasn't more stuff there,
Well,
but
this-
I may be the only one.
When the spillway is functioning, the overflow spillway, will that impact anything or change your decision about what's gonna, I don't know.
I don't think so. We didn't weigh that into
It's,
the decision.
it's confined in training walls. Oh, okay. It's confined, they're called training walls. When
Yeah, I
you're
know.
directing water down through,
Right,
it's called
yeah.
training walls.
Yeah.
So all of that is defined in training walls.
Yeah.
Every bit of it, coming right from the dam, straight through,
Right.
comes down through, takes a left, it used to go through a turbine,
Right.
on all the pulleys and stuff, continues down through and takes another left and goes down into the brook.
Yeah, no, I
So
got
it's,
it.
it's confined, it doesn't run out onto the
Right.
ground or anything like that. The only spot that I would look just to be concerned on is if there's any spots where it's graded off, where it would erode into that to build a sediment or something.
Is that building gonna get demoed?
And that
does get
one's,
opened up.
that's,
I'm not sure yet what the final scope of work would be there. If there's potential to salvage that building for his boat repair facility, he'd be interested in doing that, but if it's too far gone, he's not yet sure if he's gonna
Yeah, I
do it
got
on
you.
this side or that side. You know, he's got
Yeah,
lots
I
of
got
pieces now to work with.
Right.
Yeah.
okay.
I also visited 122 Shore Drive at the chairman's request. This is the Bellinger property that was before us last year. They are currently still working within the confines of the existing permit, which they have. When I was there, silt fence was up down closer to the waterfront, but I did ask the contractors to re-secure it. It was a little flimsy, so it wouldn't have really done its job. Mr. Bellinger might be back before you for driveway work in the near future. If you recall, he had to go to ZBA as well, and there was some confusion as to the full scope of work. So what was approved here and what was approved at ZBA were slightly different, and the driveway was called out to be removed at ZBA to get him within the proper impervious surface coverages. So he's got to stick with that. He's looking into some pervious paver systems, so on and so forth at this point, but it'll probably be back before you at some point.
What are they doing now with all the backhoe that's on the property?
It's drainage work. If you looked close, you would have seen that the foundation was exposed
Yeah.
and it was tarred, and they were laying the pipe today and that kind of work. So probably from the new rain leader from the expansion of the house in front there.
Okay.
The only other one I had a question about was 32, again, is the, since I guess the back part of the brewery, or I don't know if it's connected at about 32 Lake Street. There is the old remnants of the old silt fence along on the outside on, that would be Meadow, or is that Meadows? Yeah, that's Meadow Street.
Okay.
They're building,
Like
I
at the
know,
end of the
inside, right,
sidewalk.
that's where the river runs underneath the building.
Yeah.
I don't know, I didn't get a chance to drive around the other side, but I know that that's an active construction site. I don't know that silt fence in the front there is almost non-existent. The area was disturbed. I don't know if they're doing any more work there. If it's something you could look, I mean, it needs to be replaced. And originally, years ago, somebody put that up, the silt fence, because they were doing some excavation in that area, I remember.
Okay.
But if you could take a look at that, you'll see right what I mean. It's right on the side of the road. It's all,
Okay.
it needs to be regraded or something
Alright.
needs to happen. But in the short term, it's know, disturbed soil that's just there, more stuff is falling into the water course, going right into the other river, into the Still, or Mad River.
Sounds like it might call for a long-term solution.
There will,
But-
eventually, I think there'd have to be something there,
Yeah.
but I don't know if
Okay.
it's on the build. They're mostly concerned with the inside of the building, it seems like now, but,
Right.
we'll see.
I'll check on that too.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Jeff.
That's all I had on that.
Okay, Jeff?
Where are we at with the Board of Selectmen with the dock and mooring ordinance?
Where are we with that?
Nowhere.
Meeting with Paul tomorrow, that's on our agenda to talk about.
Well, yeah.
I didn't hear you,
Yes.
Jeremy.
We've got a meeting tomorrow with the town manager, and that is on the list of some of the things that we wanted to bring to his attention, so we can get a better update on that for you.
It's out of our hands now, are you just taking it from him?
Correct, yeah, out of your hands. One of the recommendations that I was gonna make too was to possibly change the dock and mooring ordinance to a regulation, which might make this body more nimble in possible changes to it. But that's something that we'll discuss as well.
Okay. Just a brief comment on that. The penalty on the phase of the ordinance, it's $100 a day per issue, but per day. So if they have multiple issues, 3, let's say, so it would be $300 a day, and each day it continues, it's another $100.
Yeah, that's typical for violations across the board.
All right, just wanted to be sure of that. All right, Russ,
Yeah, I talked to Rollins.
go ahead.
The sweeping hasn't been done, the sweeper should be back Friday or Monday,
Okay, good.
and he's gonna jump right on it. Holland Beach, the culverts are in. He had to get some approvals for the additional work that we asked him to do. He's expecting to have that whole project wrapped up by Memorial Day.
You know what, though, before you move on, because you're gonna talk to him again, Holland Beach has got a big puddle in the middle of everything they've done.
They're not finished.
What?
They're not finished.
They're gonna take care of that puddle?
Where's the park? Middle of the road?
Yeah.
Or in the park?
Yeah.
By the new catch basin.
Closer to the parking lot, but basically right in the middle.
Okay.
So he's not done grading yet, he's just got,
Okay.
no, he's gonna sub out the tar in the paving, but he's gonna do the prep work underneath.
All right, okay. So that'll
And
be
expect
taken
to have
care of.
that done by,
Okay, good.
by Memorial